I booked 38 calls in 4 weeks for one of my clients using this simple, repeatable DM strategy. Now, with this strategy, there's no complicated funnels, there's no complicated approach, this complex web of approach. It's just a proven system that I use to get prospects responding, opening up, and ultimately booking in for sales calls. Now, just for a bit of context, my client was using a new follower Instagram growth ad campaign to bring obviously targeted traffic to their page, and from there obviously it was my job then to convert those followers into booked calls. In this video I'm going to break down step by step, of course, like I always do, the exact DM strategy that I used so you can steal it for yourself, run away, plug this into your business and start booking more calls. Now, the biggest problem that I'm aware of with coaches and their DMs is they struggle with the DMs. They struggle to get calls booked because they sort of sound too generic. They come across as salesy, they come across as pushy. Essentially what not to do if you want to get anywhere near 38 calls booked in a month. Now, do not send, hey, how are you, with sort of no clear value, no question, no way to carry the conversation on. Obviously don't use copy and paste messages, messaging the same message to every single follower, and definitely don't pitch your product, your offer too early before building rapport, establishing any form of probing process, any form of urgency, everything like that. So those are just the do not do's straight away. Now the truth is that doing DMs, sending DMs, getting calls booked should just feel natural. It shouldn't feel like a sale pitch, it shouldn't feel sort of like internally a bit like, oh, it should feel very natural and very seamless. There was 3 stages that I used to book this amount of calls. Stage number 1, this coach has quite a high sort of volume in her account due to the success of the ads. So there was a lot of new followers, a lot of cold traffic coming in every single day. So what I needed to do was qualify them as quickly as possible, build trust, acquire information as quickly as possible, so I could essentially get through the inbox and get people on calls. Now, in this case, I used what I like to call a pathway probing process, due strictly to the high volume. Now, typically, this coach's followers come to the page for 2 reasons. Now, I used a pathway message to split them up, and I used it to sort of deem what the prospect was looking for within the page. Now, I can't really give specifics, but we basically decided as a team to open with, hey, thanks for the follow. If you don't mind me asking, were you following for X or Y? Okay, so we've had the 2 reasons why that person would follow. Now, what this did is it determined if we can help this prospect off the bat, and the prospects that we could sort of help were basically taken into the next stage of the process, next stage of the conversation, and the ones that we couldn't help, if we asked them again, if we could basically help them, we asked them another question to sort of ascertain whether we could help them. If we couldn't, then we sent them off with a resource just to accrue goodwill. If we could, they obviously moved on to stage number 2. Now, this is basically just the icebreaker that got the conversation going. Now, stage number 2 is to identify their goals, what their pain is, without being pushy. What I did was I asked engaging and probing questions, basically like problem-based questions, that basically got them to open up, to talk about their weight loss journey, their struggles around it, how it's made them felt, and all of the good stuff that I've already been over. Now, I've got a list of sort of the typical questions that I asked, and this is basically what I asked. I asked someone, how long do you feel that you've been on a weight loss journey yourself? And then what I would use is a bit of an assumptive question to get them to agree. So what I was saying was, I'm guessing that you've been on a weight loss journey for 6 months, you've just had no luck, no joy, no success with it. They would always agree, and then I would use an assumptive feelings-based question. So I would say, I'm guessing that's left you feeling all kinds of confused and frustrated. Obviously, this is a labeling question that I'm using to create emotion. And I also used another labeling question. I said, I'm guessing that you now feel a bit stuck and a bit confused as to what to do, to really sort of paint a picture of where they are now and to get them to basically reflect and feel like they need help. Now, from there, obviously I wanted to find out more information. I would say to them something like, would you say that what you've been doing now hasn't really worked and it just hasn't been sustainable for you? Now, the reason I actually said this is to encourage the self-awareness that what they've done, what they've been doing hasn't worked and something needs to change. Then I would suggest the change to them, and I would say, have you ever felt like getting one-to-one help so you can ultimately take the confusion away, and ultimately not carry on for months or years going in the same cycle. Now, once they responded to this, I asked them basically for a call. I would say, do you feel like getting one-to-one help so that you can X, Y, and Z, guarantee that you lose the weight, so that you can feel X, Y, and Z? And then I would ask them at the end of that question, I would say, if we could guarantee you all that, do you feel like it's something that you would invest into? Now, obviously, this is the financial qualifier before we offer the call. If they said no, it's free resource, be as nice as possible. If they said yes, and if they passed the qualifying questions, then it's stage 3, which is the juicy part. Stage 3 is essentially where we just transition to the call. We transition to getting them on a call, make it feel natural. There was 2 approaches I was doing at the time, and one of them was more successful than the other. So I'd ask them simply if they felt like it would be helpful to have a chat over Zoom so that we can show them exactly how we can help them with X, so that we could show them basically how they can get to their dream goal. Then I would say that on the call, we're going to go over how it works and how it would financially, so what it would entail financially. Then I'd ask them, would it be helpful? They'd always agree. Then what I would do is I'd do 2 things. I'd either suggest times, so like I can do X, Y, and Z, or I would send them a booking link. Now, what I actually noticed, and a bit of an adjustment we made, was that we were sending the booking link. Obviously, I'm not a fan of this, but we were just doing it because it was the SOPs that the team had at the time. And people just weren't booking in, so I'd have to follow up, I'd have to chase. And then obviously when they're being chased and they're being followed up with, the emotions simmering. So they're not really as desperate to book in a call because they've thought about it, they've tried something else, they've been told by a friend to try this, and the sales call just wasn't being booked. So we actually changed this strategy around, and we started suggesting times to them like I normally do anyway. I can do this time, I can do that time, I can do this time, I just need you to pop me your email. And this worked a treat. People were booking in, and then just to double down the financial qualifying, they were sent an application link sort of off the bat where it would ask them for like details, weight, goals, investment, and then essentially they were just booked in for a call. And this is exactly how I booked in. Well, I think I checked the spreadsheet this morning, it's currently the 31st of January, and I think I'm up to 43 calls. So that's 43 calls across 4 weeks, which to be honest with you is quite impressive. I can definitely do better, but this is how I booked essentially 43 calls in just 4 weeks. And the key with obviously booking the call in and asking them if it's helpful, the key when we're going to book the call is to make it all about them. We want to guide them to feeling like they need one-to-one help, and then obviously financially qualify them through the investment question. When you actually start to follow this strategy, you follow exactly what I've laid out in this video, I guarantee you're going to book more calls. It's scientifically impossible. Source, trust me bro, but it's scientifically impossible for you not to book calls. Obviously, this is just one of the many approaches that I use. If you want to find out more about me, how I can help, how my services can help your business, help you book more calls, help you close more deals, there's going to be a link down below. It's going to take you to a landing page which is just going to describe me, my results, my history, my track record, my credentials, and it's going to tell you how I can help you, how I can help your business, how I can help your sales team if you have one. Ultimately close more deals, book more calls. Now, if you want to book in a call, you want to skip the queue, you want to have a chat with me about what this would look like, how my course can help, and everything like that, there's going to be a link down below. But if you just want to check out some information, if you just want to shelf me for the future, that's perfectly fine. Or even if you just want to keep absorbing all the free content and listening to that, that's all good. I hope you found this useful. I'll catch you next time.